Forster, Beau Bridges, Shailene Woodley, and the last two I think will be known to you, Alexander Payne and Mr. Clooney. To George and to Alexander, how did you find each other for this film? It's such a wonderful collaboration.
Honey, you tell it.
It's a Turkish bath. Amara? Well, Alexander failed to find me fascinating when I met with him for Sideways, which I've not yet let go. And then what was it about? It was about 2 years ago this time, almost. Exactly. We met in Toronto, and you came over and said, I have a script coming that I'd like you to look at. And I said, I'm doing it whether I read the script or not. And which didn't work with Batman and Robin, by the way. I don't know. But that happens, you know. And then we met at an Italian restaurant. And you take it from there.
I was in the midst of writing the script. George was my first and only choice. I flew to Toronto to grab dinner with him. He was there promoting a couple of movies. This was exactly 2 years ago in September. And I said, I've got a screenplay coming your way in November. I explained to him the story. He received the screenplay in November, and we were shooting by March.
I was so nervous all the time when I was working with Alexander because I was so in awe of him and the movies that he'd made, and I thought that worked well for my character. And in my life, I'm always kind of nervous, but then working with George made it feel lighter and easier, and I worked with George before, so thankfully I wasn't as nervous about him, but he keeps everything so fun yet professional, and a lot of times when you get the knock on your trailer that they're ready for you on set, you know, you have about 15 minutes before you actually go to set, but George is always the first person on set, so I was really impressed that you better get to set when it's time to go to set, because he is there and he's ready to work, and I was really inspired by the fact that you are playing this part and what it's going to do for your career. I was so excited for you.
Remember what our first scene was ever? Not in this movie.
Yeah.
We did a scene in Three Kings, and our first scene together is us having sex.
Yeah, like crazy sex. Having like sex I never even knew about. This is how grown-ups do it.
Tomorrow again.
Thanks for the warning.
Is that, used to it. Is that what's made you nervous ever since? I'm curious that Judy, so the scene, the big final scene you have at the hospital is so great. Is that something you, as an actor, when you're preparing 15 minutes before, and you want to do it once and hit it, or did you do that numerous times in different ways? Or tell a little about that scene, which is so great.
I don't remember how many times we did it. I feel like we shot that scene over the course of 2 days. I think we started and then stopped maybe, and then went back to it, but I feel like I've been preparing my whole life for that scene because I tried to just get everything I've ever felt in the world in that moment. So it was hard. I listened to a lot of music and thought about all the great and terrible things that have ever happened to anyone, and and then I went on set. And I stared at such a jerk, and I forget her name.
Patty Hastings.
Patty. I stared at her, and looking at her, I was so moved by this woman. She was like a prop, but she was real, and that's, I guess, what it's like when you're staring at someone in a coma. It was so moving to see her there and how hard she had to work to be that character, and yeah, it was just a lot of things that led to that scene.
Speak of shooting in Hawaii, and one of the striking things about the film is the use of locations. And when you went to shoot there, and to present Hawaii in a different way than we usually see it. How did you approach the location shoot?
Well, I have to say, approaching Hawaii in general, Honolulu specifically, because I like cities, I wanted to see Honolulu. It's not just differently from other movies. I really haven't seen it in other movies. And I didn't watch the old Hawaii Five-0, which for all I know might have been a great location show, but I've just never seen it. And yeah, that was definitely one of the reasons I wanted to make it, because I am so interested in location and having that certain physical documentary aspect to film. And I wanted to see Honolulu. I'd never seen Honolulu in a film.
Shailene, I'm curious, how did you get involved with this film? It's such a wonderful part and a terrific performance. You're just great in it. And how did you meet Alexander and get the role?
It's kind of a standard auditioning process. I was in Toronto when he was in New York auditioning girls, and I flew down and auditioned for him, and that was kind of it. I guess I did a good job.
Well, for you and Amara, I'd like to ask, what were the most challenging or interesting scenes or moments in the film for the two of you? Because you both are running through the whole film, and there's so many emotions and things happening, along with comic moments. What were the most interesting scenes to film for you, both?
Probably the most challenging scene for me was when I had to eat all the ice cream because I didn't know when to stop, and because it got me sick the next day. Yeah, so I couldn't show up for work the next day, and I felt horrible, and I regretted that I ate so much ice cream, so that was definitely a challenging scene to film.
Getting punched in the face by Robert Forster was one of the more memorable things, definitely. But as he said, it was really not even just the process of filming it. It was being in a group of really great people who were having a lot of fun doing what they did best and learning so much from all of them. You know, for me, it was a crash course. I had not had that type of experience before, so to be immersed in it for so long, learning so much was amazing, really amazing.
You know, you got an opportunity. I mean, you see that character for quite a while being kind of a doofus and, kind of out of it and stuff, and then you get that one scene with George in the middle of the night that's so revelatory and so touching. That must have been a very special scene to play, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty frightening too, go into that. I didn't want to mess up, but once I got there, yeah, that was a really cool scene to film, Really, really great.
Matthew, anything you can contribute?
Yeah, I mean, I have the greatest role in the history of films. I steal George Clooney's wife. And I think there's Rocky and Lawrence of Arabia, and then there's Brian Spear. Never to be duplicated ever again. I literally just looked at him all day and just thought, I'm better than you. You're not that handsome. I know all your secrets. I'm a piece of ass. No, it was great. Look, of those times in your life that Robert's talking about, I've done a lot of movies, and to come back and do a movie, I've been gone for a long time, and to do the greatest movie that I will probably ever be involved in, to be a part of something that's an instant classic, and to be with one of the greatest filmmakers in America and the world right now is it changes your life. And it changes your perspective on the work and your career, and it gives you something to be proud of, and that doesn't happen very often in the business that we're in right now. It's really difficult to be an actor. And to have an opportunity to work with this cast and that crew and that director and the writing is just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, to be honest.
How did you work with the costume designer, and how did it feel to wear those pants?
I remember when we did the costume test the first day and camera test, George came out in his outfit with the Aloha shirt tucked into his khaki pants. He looked at me and says, I'm never going to get laid again. I don't believe you.
I was curious what Mr. Clooney and Mr. Payne's thoughts were about forgiveness, both in the context and the world of the film, and also if you would be willing to talk about that too in real life.
I forgive you. Now I don't forgive you. Take it back. I thought in the film that you're absolutely right. There's a big part of it. It's forgiving yourself as much in this film, because so much of this that happened was also his responsibility. And I think that a big part of that release at the end when he's with his wife is, and he looks at her and he kisses her goodbye, is understanding his part in this as well. Yes, she cheated on him, but he was not there, and he was not a good father. And he was, as much as he thought he was busy working, and that happens, you know. And so there's part of it was coming to understand that, and I think that forgiving yourself is a very big part of that. And I think that that's true. I think we all go through those experiences of understanding that the older you get, the more forgiving you are of other people's mistakes. You know, when you're young, you find that anything that, you know, that stands against something you believe in is just plain wrong. You know, I remember there would be relatives of mine who would say something, and I would be like, well, he's a bigot, or he's a... And then you come to find out later that I was way too judgmental of those sort of things. I was creating, I was making the issue much bigger than it was. And I think as we all get older, we get a little more forgiving of everything except the guy driving 45 miles an hour. It's like a little bit of a dance.
Now we're moving to the center.
This is actually very...
And now we're going to the right. And over to the far right.
And I think everybody gets one from the back.